Welcome back to Hoopsville, everybody. Sorry for that. A little bit of computer glitch. Gotta love technology. As much as it gets better, it gets more complicated. I am Dave McHugh alongside Chris Tarr, you see in the background, our producer extraordinaire. On the phone, Bob Quillman, who we were chatting with before we were rudely kicked off the air by the internet gods and computer gremlins. Bob, we were in the middle of talking about the Midwest and WIAC, and certainly who could be a sleeper in this Midwest. We talk about WashU. We talk about the CCIW. Certainly, we'll talk about the WIAC in a minute. But is there anybody coming out of here that could be a sleeper or a team that, maybe not everyone is really paying attention to but should be?
I think that Anderson in the HCAC, Dave, would be my pick right now if I had to come up with a sleeper. They probably shouldn't be a sleeper. They're 13-1 and they're 5-0 in their league, but they're a team that's a little bit under the radar right now, and they're from a conference that's been a little bit quiet in recent years. So yeah, I would say that Anderson would be my pick as a sleeper, and I would also say it's that kind of year that a lot of teams could sneak up on us because there seems to be a lot of parity after WashU and Stevens Point and Whitewater. So even in Illinois College, let's say Illinois College gets in, they're capable of winning a couple games. So you just never know.
And it certainly depends on how the NCAA lines up everybody in the brackets. Of course, that's
right.
A determining factor, and who's got that home court advantage, which we've seen is very important throughout the NCAA tournament. Let's switch gears, go back over to the WIAC. Certainly don't want to ignore them. And obviously, a lot of eyes this weekend were on Stevens Point versus La Crosse, and in my opinion, Stevens Point absolutely drubbed La Crosse, and it makes me question whether I needed to be having them in my top 25.
Well, let me ask you this. Do you have St. Thomas in your top 25? You do, correct?
Yep.
Stevens Point beat them by 22.
That's true.
Do you have Whitworth in your top 25? Now, if you don't,
on the outside looking in right now.
They're close. I think Whitworth is probably the team that's not in the poll that needs to be from the West, and Stevens Point just thrashed Whitworth as well. So to me, a 16-point loss to Stevens Point by La Crosse. I mean, I hate to say it, but maybe that validates being in the poll. I mean,
right. That's true.
And I'm just joking about that, but I'm certainly not going to kick them out of my top 25, which they're in because they lost by 16 to the Pointers.
Well, I guess my bigger point would be they only put up 50-some-odd points. As I quickly look at my notes, they put up 57. Does that surprise you? I think I expected more offense. I expected a better outpouring, even if they lost. I think I expected them to lose. I would have been more surprised by the win, but I think the least amount of points was kind of my surprise.
Seems like the Pointers are a pretty good defensive team. They've given up 57 to St. John's and 55 to Puget Sound, 53 to Lawrence, 51 to Edgewood, 59 to Stout, 56 to St. Thomas, 57 to Viterbo. So, boy, they've held some teams under 60, including St. Thomas, which is a team that we all have in the top 10. So I would not overreact to that game.
Rest of the WIAC shaping up. Pretty much it looks like Stevens Point's and Whitewater's races for that top spot.
Yeah, I think Stevens Point, Whitewater, and you can't quite give up on La Crosse. I mean, I remember that game was at Stevens Point. So at this point, I still think there's three teams there that are going to battle for that title.
If you were to, La Crosse is certainly the team that surprised many, at least early on in the season. Is there anybody else in the WIAC that could make a run maybe here mid to late in the season?
Well, I think Platteville. Platteville's a team coming into the season that we all had our eyes on, and they're a good basketball team, but Platteville's not as good as the other three. I'm pretty comfortable in that, and I don't think La Crosse is as good as Stevens Point and Whitewater, so You clearly do have a pecking order there in the league, and but Platteville could do some damage, certainly.
In years past, we've talked about possibly seeing three WIAC teams in the NCAA tournament. Are we maybe looking at a two-team race?
Depends. I think La Crosse is still in position. They're in that Pool C discussion. If it comes to Selection Sunday, and La Crosse, let's say, gets out of the WIAC with only, let's say, 4 losses, they're going to be in that picture.
Sure.
Certainly, there's two teams going to get in. Whitewater and Stevens Point looks like they're both in, but too early to tell. I think it's possible to see 2 Pool Cs.
Very good. Hey, you're always give us an idea of what we should look at down the road in the sense of the Midwest and the WIAC. Anything you're looking at in the next 7 days?
Well, just from a CCIW standpoint, which is obviously where I'm the most familiar, this Wednesday you've got Augustana at Wheaton, which is going to be a game where some stuff shakes out. You know, there's now some of the contenders are starting to play each other, with Wesleyan beating Carthage, and so that's another one where I'm interested to learn some things from, and that would be the biggie that I'm going to keep an eye on.
Very good. Hey, I appreciate it, as always, joining us on the air. Sorry for the technical glitches along the way. We'll work on those in the next week before we talk to you next Sunday.
No problem. I will talk to you soon.
All right, enjoy the warmth.
Thanks, Dave. See you.
All right,
Bye.
take care. Bob Quillman joined us from Columbia, Missouri, where he said it got into the 20s today, which is basically a warm spell in his book. So congratulations to him, at least on the weather, and we appreciate his his point of view, I should say, out there. Certainly. And we're not going to waste much more time. I know Coach Larry Anderson from MIT is sitting on the line. And, Coach, welcome to Hoopsville, and welcome to a heck of a start to the season.
Thanks, Dave. Thanks so much for having me.
I appreciate you guys coming on. I mean, first and foremost, undefeated pretty much in the sense of the world for us of Division III, 11-1 overall with only a loss to MIT, or Harvard, I should say. You can't be too disappointed with this start.
No, we can't. We wish we were undefeated, but that doesn't sound realistic with such a young basketball team at this point.
Sure. Well, youth is certainly it. I don't think anyone expected MIT to make the run that they have. MIT in the last few years has certainly had some success. I don't want to take anything away from the program, but I don't think anyone expected you guys 11-1 at this point.
Well, I think you're right about that. We didn't expect to be 11-1. I'll go back and say it again. With young basketball team or any year, we never know how many games we're going to win. Some things that we try to do is play hard, play together, and play smart. And but the number of wins that we might get, we never know what the outcome is going to be.
You've got two seniors on this team, one junior from my quick math, and a number of freshmen and sophomores. So obviously, the youth has got to play. And you mentioned that it's a surprise that they've achieved so much so fast. What's been the catalyst?
Well, I got to go back and say our three captains, the leadership of those guys. They were here last year when we made our run into the NCAA tournament. We got to the Sweet 16, and I think some of what we've learned is carried over from those guys, Billy Johnson, Eric Zook, and Patrick Sisman. They are three captains, and we got to the round of 16 last year. And with the freshmen coming in, who are quick learners, and they have some talent, but the leadership of those guys have really poured out in a great way for us.
Hollingsworth scoring 21.2 points a game so far this season. You're getting 13.6 out of Mitchell Cage and Jimmy Burke at 9.6, 8.9 Billy Johnson. The list goes on. You have quite a few guys at 5 points or higher. It certainly looks like it's at least you have your chief scorers, but you got guys you can go to in the pinch.
Yeah, that's been really good for us. Jimmy Burke is coming off the bench for us, who he could easily be a starter, but he has accepted that role, and he's playing it really, really well. Billy Johnson, who averaged 17.5 points a game last year in conference play, and he was a second-team all-conference player, has been willing to give the leadership and share some of his offense and allow the freshmen to flourish. And they've just been an unselfish bunch, and I think that has given us a good platform to try to do what we've been doing in this early going.
I said 11-1 earlier. I should say 13-1, obviously. Again, that one loss coming to Harvard. Just curious, that's kind of an interesting date to put a D1 squad in there. I know other schools have done it. I know, for example, my alma mater will be playing a D1 school in 2 weeks from today. But is that one of those where it was just kind of like-minded schools wanted to get together for a game?
We had been talking about it, for a few months, and we just decided to go ahead and do it. We're 5 minutes apart. Tommy Amaker, who's the head coach over there, is a good friend of mine, and we thought it might be good for the city itself. And we're thinking about doing it again next year. So it could become something that's done on an annual basis.
Oh, cool. That would be certainly great for the kids.
Absolutely.
What do you get out of it from your vantage point? Obviously, you're playing a team that technically could be comparatively on the same field in the sense of academics, but certainly at a better skill set. Is it just kind of one of those where it kind of gives your kids a chance to play against a much tougher squad?
Well, that's what we wanted to do, is try to we knew we would when we got this recruiting class and we knew that they were had a chance to be pretty good, in which we don't usually get this type of talent in a freshman class, and we said, okay, why don't we test them really early and see what they're really made of? And we asked them, look, do you guys want this test at this particular time, which was December 28th? And they said, look, Coach, we'd love to do it. Cool. And being so young, they thought they could just go in and just beat anybody, right. Which we love that. But we learned a good lesson in playing that game, that we have a lot of work to do if we're going to ever be able to play at that level.
Sure. Talking about your team, and by the way, you might have some little bit of a riffraff going tomorrow, as I do see you have a couple Baltimore area players on your team, Patrick Sisman and Ben Montgomery from Annapolis, Maryland. Being Ravens fans that we are based out of Baltimore, I have a bad feeling what could happen in practice tomorrow. But you certainly have a lot of guys from a lot of different places, and that certainly talks to the fact that you're an academic, really strong academic school. Where do you guys find players? I mean, the Caltech struggle and don't find those kinds of players. Some other really strong academic schools struggle. You guys have had some success, especially recently.
Well, I've been at MIT almost 15 years right now, and you have to have a lot of friends out there, and you have to look under every single rock and just cast your net so much wider than most schools do to be able to find a person who's academically gifted and have a little basketball talent. And we just been fortunate enough to have a good coaching staff who's willing to get out there and do it. But it's not just a coaching staff, it's a whole community effort. Alums, coaches, high school coaches, AAU coaches, to pick up the phone and call you and say, look, you need to take a look at this kid over here. I think he might be a good candidate for admission for MIT. And some kind of way, if you win a couple of games in some previous years, then the kids begin to look at your program a little bit harder, and then sometimes they make decisions to come to MIT, which this group has, and we're pretty excited about that.
Oh, cool. Well, let's talk about the NEWMAC a little bit, the New England Women's and Men's Athletic Conference. And this is a conference that has a lot of good teams that have come out of it in years past. The Worcester Polytechs Coast Guard made that miraculous run to the Elite Eight just a few seasons ago. We've talked about Springfield way back in the day. Right now, you're technically second to Springfield, who's 2-0. You're 1-0. But you're certainly head and shoulders right now overall record above them. Worcester Polytech right behind them at 11-2. I assume Worcester Polytech probably worries you the most, and you have a game with them coming up here soon. But let's talk about that in a minute. Who else in this conference do you worry about? Do you have to really be on your game for?
Well, I worry about every last one of them. Because it is that way. We play a round robin, so we play each other twice. And if you get to the conference tournament, then you could play each other 3 times. So the coaches in this league are very well prepared, so it doesn't matter how much talent you have. The players on the other team understand the rivalry among just a 7-team conference. So we're worried about all of them, and we prepare for one game just like we do the other. There's no extra preparation for any one team in our league. They're all really, really good, and we take each game that way.
You got the game coming up, as I mentioned, at Worcester Polytech. Some people say it's going to be a matchup of 2 very different teams. From your vantage point, you're obviously getting ready for that game. What do you think are your strengths of the game? What do you think your weaknesses are of the game? Obviously, Coach, for Worcester Polytech, not listening.
Oh, wait.
What do you think? What are your strengths? What do you think your weaknesses are?
Well, I think our strength is inexperience and understanding the magnitude of the game and the magnitude of this conference, and going in and night out and understanding the effort that needs to be given to be successful. So that piece, and our strengths would be rebounding right now. I think if we rebound the basketball pretty well, then we'll give ourselves a chance. Obviously, playing a program of WPI's caliber, we're going to have to bring our best effort if we're going to have a chance to be successful.
Worcester Polytech obviously has been carrying the mantra of this, or the title of this conference for a long time, and obviously you guys, the engineers, have had some success recently. Is this a conference that has slowly but surely developed into a conference that can compete against the NESCACs in the Northeast, that can compete against those tougher conferences? Or are you guys still in that situation where you got a lot of good teams, or two good teams every season, and then you got a couple of others kind of holding you guys kind of even keeled?
Well, I think the media, you guys, have talked about the NASCAC for years, and I think the NUMAC has flown under the radar screen for such a long time. But if you look at what they've done over the last 10 years, you'll see that it's been a conference that's been a force to be reckoned with. I think MIT in the last several years have come on strong to help, but the conference itself has always been strong.
Yeah, well,
that's
I
my
agree.
opinion
Certainly,
about it.
the top of the conference, I would agree with you. I was
Right.
wondering what you guys think. I mean, I'm familiar with conferences that the top 2-3 teams are tough to beat. The bottom 2-3 teams are always walked over, and so I just wanted to get your vantage point. How tough you thought the conference was on the whole.
Well, I humbly speaking, I think that many of the teams in the NUMAC could really compete with a lot of teams on the national level. I really do. And if you look across the board, they've done that over the last years.
Yep.
WPI is the one that sticks out. But if you look at what Coast Guard did a few years ago,
right,
and they got to what, the
Elite
Eight?
Sinus, we're basically a shot away from going to the Final Four.
Right. If you look at what Clark has done, in the early 2000s, Springfield was a box out away from going to the Final Four against Salem State, 6 or 7 years ago. And it goes even Babson went to the Sweet 16, I think, back-to-back years in the early 2000s. Our conference is only a 7-team conference.
Right.
We've gotten 2 teams into the NCAA tournament for the last 6 or 7 years. That's pretty good stuff.
No, that is good, and I like to hear it from the coach in the conference.
Right.
But how do you stack up? Obviously, you have Amherst and Williams. You guys certainly have to battle against, and Brandeis is up there getting a lot of recognition. You guys are now nationally ranked. WPI is on the outside looking in, though I think they could sneak in there anytime soon. It certainly seems like the Northeast has a lot of good teams. In your humble opinion, where do where you are ranked now compared to where everybody else is? Do you think it's about a fair assessment of where you guys are?
Well, to be honest with you, I don't know. I'm still trying to get to know our team, and they're still trying to get to know me in terms of where we are. And I think I learn something about them every single day. I don't know if we're the 15th best team in the country. I don't know if we should be number 5. I don't know if we should be number 25 or a number 100. I'm still trying to learn about them. I think we played our best half of basketball yesterday in the second half, and that told me a little bit about what we might be able to do in the future, but I still have no idea at this point of what we're capable of doing or where we should actually be ranked.
Schedule certainly helps you out with the WPI game coming up on a Wednesday at home for you guys. Is that where you'd rather play the game the first time you play WPI? Do you like the fact that you get them at home first?
I like to have all the home games.
True. It'd be wonderful, wouldn't it?
Right. If I'm not sure what advantage we gain from playing them at home first or playing them at their place first. I just think the NUMAC itself, on any given night, if you don't bring your A game, you're probably not going to be too successful. So whether we were playing at their place or our place, first probably wouldn't matter. At this point, it's early. We only played one game, so there's a lot of NUMAC games left to play.
Obviously, last year was the first NUMAC championship for you guys and first NCAA tournament appearance. Obviously, you rebuild. You're doing well on the rebuild so far.
Thank you.
And I assume the title and appearance is your most logical next step.
I guess so. We're taking one day at a time. We talk about making each practice a masterpiece and trying to make each game a masterpiece. So we're not good enough to look down the road and say, okay, what's the next step? We're just trying to look right in front of us to see what we need to be doing next. And I'll go back to say this again. With such a young basketball team, we're trying to go and speed them up as fast as we can without skipping a step. And so we're just thinking about the next practice and how we can get better, to be honest with you. And I know that's boring stuff, but it's true.
No, I understand that. Actually, my question you bring up, and it reminds me, we talk about the academics in Division III schools, and it's certainly very difficult at any school, but it obviously is much more difficult at a school like an MIT, where the academics are so much more stringent, so much more less room for error, as it were. How do you make it work with the team? How do you make sure that practices can go as smoothly as possible within their academics, structure, et cetera, et cetera?
Well, I think it might be the same at any institution where time management is key.
Mm-hmm.
I think our kids, when they come here, they understand why they're here. Academics first, there's no doubt about that. And then they're passionate about basketball, so it's a pretty close second to what they came here to do. And we're looking at it from a holistic standpoint.
Mm-hmm.
Basketball is part of the very fabric of what MIT is all about. If basketball is just used as a vehicle to teach them leadership, teamwork, how to take charge without taking over, some of the things are going to be used when they leave MIT. So it's time management, basically.
Very good. Coach Larry Anderson, head coach of MIT, here joining us here on the show. Coach, always give the last word to the coaches. Anything you want to say to either the MIT fans listening, maybe your rivals, or anybody else in the Northeast or across the country?
Well, we like to, we got WPI on Wednesday night. We'll start with that game first. I'd like to have all the fans come out to see us play and support us in that game, and not just that game, but future games as well. And we really, really appreciate you guys having us on tonight. We used to talk about us being the best basketball program nobody's ever heard of. If you guys keep doing this for us, then people know about MIT basketball.
It might help recruiting, Coach.
It might. Thanks so much.
We'll send another smart couple of kids up from the Baltimore area.
I'm going to hold you to that.
Very good. Hey, Coach, thanks so much. Good luck at that practice again. I don't know how that Ravens-Patriots thing's going to go over it so well, especially the kids from New England. You might not have anybody talking to each other tomorrow.
Okay. We'll see what they say tomorrow.
Exactly. Take care, Coach. Thanks. Good luck against WPI in the rest of the season. Good luck at maybe winning a regular season championship as well, and we'll hopefully talk to you somewhere down the road.
Okay. Thanks so much, Dave.
All right. Coach Larry Anderson from MIT joining us on the line. We appreciate him joining us here on Hoopsville, and appreciate all you guys listening in as well. By the way, I know there's a football game going on, and wow, I just looked up. Sorry. Chris is enjoying the game. He's behind me. There's a TV above him, and I'm just sitting here talking to you people. But Coach Larry Anderson, appreciate him coming on. MIT, pretty good start to the season. I mean, you got to admit, and that game against WPI is definitely worth checking out later this week, whether it's live stats or whatever. If you get a chance to check that game out, it is worth listening, watching, whatever they offer for that game, and we'll hopefully get a good one out of those two teams. Of course, they're going to face a second time. So it's not the end all on Wednesday, but I think MIT's got maybe some eyes looking their way, and WPI is not going to take them lightly whatsoever. By the way, on Thursday we were talking about how there is a bit of a blankness behind me near Chris. Let me show it to all of you folks. We have changed it up a little bit, as you can see. We now have T-shirts, the Hoopsville T-shirts. This one, if you know the reason behind it, email me. There's a little joke with that. I'll let you read it a little bit better there. This one right here is a little bit different, and that is the traditional shirt. Chris even wearing the Hoopsville shirt, as you can see. Very nice, sporting it. I'll wear it next time. I just wanted to wear this shirt today. That's what I wanted to wear. So anyway, if you have any questions for us, email us at hoopsville@d3hoops.com. That's hoopsville@d3hoops.com. You can also IM us at Hoopsville2000 on your AOL IM. It's Hoopsville2000. Or just join us in the chat room right there on Ustream. You can just join us in the chat room. There's a few people in there chatting along, talking about the game. One guy asked us about Wells College and SUNY IT coming up. That was the championship game, you'll have to remember, last year, I believe, in the NEAC. And Wells College in their first year last year making it to that championship. So, you know what? I'm going to give it to SUNY IT still. I think they've got the experience. I think the sophomore slump might hurt Wells a little bit here, and we'll see what happens on the road. But obviously not definitely jumping out at me as being a Wells win there. Got a couple minutes. We're going to take another break. Coming up, Mike McDonald from Madai will join us on the air, and we'll talk to them. They're undefeated as well. In the meantime, again, email us at hoopsville@d3hoops.com. That's hoopsville@d3hoops.com. You can also IM us at Hoopsville2000 or join us in the chat room. I'm reminded that Wells beat them today. I did not realize. I missed the score. Thank you very much. The Turkish Tornado joining and letting me know that Wells beat them today. I missed that score, so thank you very much. I guess I'm wrong. I thought SUNY IT would still have the advantage there, but Wells obviously. And hats off to Wells, by the way, just flat out. Hats off to Wells. Make it to the conference championship game in their first season ever. If anyone's not familiar, they are an all-women's program or school until very recently, the men's basketball program in its second season. So certainly, you never know. They might do some well down the road. But we'll see what happens. Anyway, we'll take a break. We'll be back right after this. You listen to Hoopsville, presented by D3Hoops.com. Back in a moment.
Daddy, I'm only 3 years old. But when you look at me, I could see the wheels turning. You're dreaming about what am I going to be when I grow up? A Major League first baseman? Maybe a point guard for the national championship team? Or the winner of the Heisman Trophy?
The odds of a child becoming a professional athlete? 1 in 16,000. The odds of a child being diagnosed with autism? 1 in 150. You know the odds of autism. Now learn some of the signs. No big smiles or other joyful expressions by 6 months. No back and forth sharing of sounds or facial expressions by 9 months. And no babbling by 12 months. To learn more of the signs and more about autism, visit autismspeaks.org.
So, Dad, let's keep dreaming the impossible while looking out for the possible, okay?
Brought to you by Autism Speaks and the Ad Council.
All season long, let D3Football.com be your home for all the Division III football action on the road to the Stag Bowl. From interactive blogs and message boards to columns from around the region and around the nation on your favorite teams, nobody covers NCAA Division III better than D3Football.com. As the playoffs approach, get the scoop on who's in and who's out from the experts who picked all 32 teams last year. Don't go anywhere else. Get the info from the source for Division III football at www.D3Football.com.
Who are you?
What are your team colors?
Who can make you cheer?
Who can bring your family and friends together?
And play your fight song?
Who can bring you to your feet?
Or bring you to your knees?
When the game is on the line, who do you want to take the last shot?
And who do you want to slap high fives, jump up and down, and yell at the top of your lungs with?
There's probably a game near you today. NCAA basketball. Who's your team?
Amber Alert, abducted child, African-American girl, 6 years old, suspect wearing blue shirt, black jeans.
Now when an Amber Alert is issued, you can get the same information the authorities get right on your cell phone. Sign up for free at wirelessamberAlerts.org. Think of it, something as simple as a free text message could free an abducted child.
All units Amber Alert canceled. Child recovered safely. Suspect is in custody.
wirelessamberAlerts.org. A child is calling for help. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
Did you know there's only one radio show dedicated to Division III basketball in the world?
Welcome to the big show.
It's Hoopsville. It's the blood of a champ. You can tune into Hoopsville throughout the season on Sunday and Thursday nights starting at 6 p.m. Eastern, live on your computer. Just go to www.d3hoopsville.com for more information, because if you're a Division III basketball fan, you've got to listen to Hoopsville. Hoopsville is presented thanks to d3hoops.com and in part by the National Association of Basketball Coaches.
NCAA Women's College Basketball. All day, every day, our game. These women can really play. Filling it up, knocking them down, and bringing it home. It's basketball at its purest. For family fun and great entertainment, there's nothing like it. All day, every day, our game. NCAA Women's College Basketball.
We've got more schools than Division I, more fans than Division II, and more upsets than March Madness. There's 800 programs with over 11,000 games leading to 2 national championships. And we've been covering it all for over a decade. From Eastern to Occidental, from Puget Sound to Piedmont, from Southwestern to the University of New England, and from Hope to Calvin. Nobody covers Division III basketball like we do. We're at D3Hoops.com at www.d3hoops.com.
Are you an embarrassment on the dance floor? Do you confuse state capitals and read too many celebrity gossip magazines? Well, if you answered yes, you may have what it takes to adopt a teen from foster care, because teens don't need perfection, they need you. So if you think an MP3 is a computer virus, it's okay. There are thousands of teens in foster care who would love to put up with you. For more information, call 1-888-200-4005 or go to adoptuskids.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt Us Kids, and the Ad Council.
So, EJ, we've designed you a signature shoe worthy of a 3-time All-American with mad smarts and 6 leadership skills. Ta-da!
There are over 380,000 NCAA student athletes.
Yeah, you got your GPA embossed, right?
I love it. And just about all of them will be going pro in something other than sports.
Can I get it in a loafer for casual Fridays? Yes. Yes.
Did you know Division III basketball has a radio show completely dedicated to them every week?
Welcome to the big show.
Well, they do. You can tune into Hoopsville every Sunday night from 7 to 9 p.m. Eastern, live on your computer.
Great show.
Just go to d3hoops.com and click on the Hoopsville link for more information. Because if you're a Division III basketball fan, you've got to listen to Hoopsville. Hoopsville is presented thanks to Goucher College Radio and d3hoops.com.
Daddy, I'm only 3 years old, but when you look at me, I could see the wheels turning. You're dreaming about what am I going to be when I grow up? A Major League First baseman? Maybe a point guard for a national championship team? Or the winner of the Heisman Trophy?
The odds of a child becoming a professional athlete? 1 in 16,000. The odds of a child being diagnosed with autism? 1 in 150. You know the odds of autism. Now learn some of the signs. No big smiles or other joyful expressions by 6 months. No back and forth sharing of sounds or facial expressions by 9 months. And no babbling by 12 months. To learn more of the signs and more about autism, visit autismspeaks.org.
So, Dad, let's keep dreaming the impossible while looking out for the possible, okay?
Brought to you by Autism Speaks and the Ad Council.
All season long, let D3Football.com be your home for all the Division III football action on the road to the Stag Bowl. From interactive blogs and message boards to columns from around the region and around the nation on your favorite teams, nobody covers NCAA Division III better than D3Football.com. As the playoffs approach, get the scoop on who's in and who's out from the experts who picked all 32 teams last year. Don't go anywhere else. Get the info from the source for Division III football at www.d3football.com.
Ever wonder where you can hear the latest Division III basketball news?
Welcome to the big show.
That's Hoopsville.
Great show.
The only show dedicated to Division III basketball in the world.
I'll tell you what, I'll support them.
You can tune in to where coaches, players, fans, and even us commentators chat about the week that was and the week that will be. So tune into Hoopsville Sunday nights from 7 until 9 Eastern live on your computer. Or check out the podcast. Because if you want to talk Division III basketball, you've got to listen to Hoopsville. Hoopsville is presented by D3Hoops.com and broadcast thanks to Goucher College Radio. For more information, go to www.d3hoops.com/Hoopsville.
And welcome back to Hoopsville, folks. I am your host, Dave McHugh. Appreciate you staying tuned with us. We are trying to get Coach from Madai on the phone here shortly. As Mike McDonald will be talking to them shortly here about his undefeated team. We certainly appreciate him joining us on the air as well. If you have any questions for us, email us at hoopsville@d3hoops.com. That's hoopsville@d3hoops.com. You can also IM us at hoopsville2000. That's on your AOL IM. That is hoopsville2000. And you can also just join us in the chat room that's part of the Ustream broadcast. You can see me. You can hear me. You can also chat with us as well. We'd love to hear from you. By the way, a reminder about that SUNY IT Wells we were talking about. Wells won. Congratulations to them. But certainly a factor there to consider is basically conference play is about the only thing that really matters since, remember, that's the conference that has University of Dallas in it. Makes things a little bit complicated. Makes it challenging. Anyway, you should have a lot of listeners as the NFL game's officially over. Congratulations to the Arizona Cardinals. To moving on. And no, for all you sarcastic people out there, the show is not broadcast thanks to Goucher College. It's one of many things that need to be redone. But We are out of our own home here in the Baltimore area. That is Chris Taher over my right shoulder. And those are Hoopsville T-shirts over both shoulders. There we go. If you want to decorate our wall, by the way, if you'd like to send some of your school stuff, we'll put it on up there. Email me. We'll send you our address. Just send us at hoopsville@d3hoops.com or dave.mchugh at d3hoops.com. Just send them, and we will chat with you, or we'll put them up there.
Coach, how you doing? Pretty good.
Excuse me, as all you saw me sneeze. We'll put it up there and get it on there for you. Anyway, lots of questions. Let's get to Pat Coleman will be joining us as well, but Coach from Madai will be here. Momentarily, we'll be chatting with him. Again, Hoopsville at d3hoops.com, and your chat room on there, or join us on IM Hoopsville 2000. By the way, quickly on the women's side, kind of a crazy week. As I count it, 11 or 12 losses in the top 25, so certainly some shake-up there. Excuse me. On the men's side, a little bit nicer. Sorry about that. A little bit caught in my throat. Got to make a broadcast as beautiful as possible. We'll take a quick break. We'll be right back.
Who are you?
What are your team colors?
Who can make you cheer?
Who can bring your family and friends together?
And play your fight song?
Who can bring you to your feet?
Or bring you to your knees?
When the game is on the line, who do you want to take the last shot?
And who do you want to slap high fives, jump up and down, and yell at the top of your lungs with?
There's probably a game near you today. NCAA basketball. Who's your team?
Did you know there's only one radio show dedicated to Division III basketball in the world?
Welcome to the big show.
It's Hoopsville. You can tune into Hoopsville throughout the season on Sunday and Thursday nights, starting at 6 p.m. Eastern, live on your computer. Just go to www.d3hoopsville.com for more information, because if you're a Division III basketball fan, you've got to listen to Hoopsville. Hoopsville is presented thanks to d3hoops.com and in part by the National Association of Basketball Coaches.
Welcome back to Hoopsville, everybody. Sorry about that. A little bit of a frog caught in my throat, and I took care of it. I had a long talk with it, made sure it left me alone. So hopefully the rest of the show will be a little bit better. So sorry about that. We'll work on it along with everything else we need to work on in the future. But thank you again for joining us on Hoopsville. Not going to waste any more time. We're going to go right to the phones, and head coach for Madai joins us on the line, Mike McDonald. Coach, welcome to the show. Welcome to an undefeated start to the season.
Oh, thank you. How you feeling? You okay?
I'm better. Yeah, you got to listen to all of that.
You're not contagious, are you?
What'd you say?
You're not contagious, are you?
No, I think I did. I don't know. Something went down in my throat wrong, apparently. I don't know. It was a little weirder. But thanks for joining us on the air. I'll survive. You get to be a first, though. I don't have many coaches hear me, cough my way off the air.
That's all right. I thought maybe you were just shocked at our record or something.
Well, there is that.
On or something, yeah.
There is that, obviously. I mean, come on, let's be real. A 13-0 start, 8-0 in the AMCC already, and with a win over last night, Frostburg by 4 on the road, and I'm sure a very chilly Frostburg State location. I can only imagine what Western.
It was cold in the gym. It was cold in the gym.
The gym's
too.
always cold, by the way. Been out there a few times in Western Maryland, but and really, I mean, besides the one loss, I'm sorry, that was preseason against Colgate, but I mean, besides some tough close games here and there, you guys are playing pretty well.
Well, we've been pretty good. We've had a good run, and our guys. I think the loss you mentioned, the Colgate game to start the year, was an exhibition game for us, and to go play a Division I team. For our guys was something they were really excited about. We played pretty well, and we had a chance in the last 3 or 4 minutes to win that game, and they ended up beating us by 11. But that I think that gave us a little bit of a shot of confidence heading into the year. And then we've won our games at home, which good teams are supposed to do, and then we've done on the road. And you mentioned Frostburg yesterday. That's a place where Medaille has never won. We haven't had much success in my 4 years here at Medaille down there, and our guys really went out and played. Really were inspired. They played tremendous, and we're fortunate because we have 5 seniors, we have 4 juniors, we have a very veteran team that has been around, and they really like playing together, and they play basketball the right way. That's for sure.
Next time you play Frostburg, I suggest you turn down the heat in the gym. It might help. Obviously, it'll be at home. You guys are on top.
Hey, we're from Buffalo. We're used to it being cold.
True.
Okay.
That's true. But I'm sure you keep the heat on at least in the gym.
Yeah. Sometimes depends on who we're playing.
Well, there you go. Obviously, that's a long trip, by the way. Buffalo to Western Maryland is not exactly a hop, skip, and a jump away. Is that a type of game you guys will spend a night, or is that to and fro in the same day?
No, we go down the night before on that one, and that's there are a few trips in our league. You go down the night before, get in the hotel, and then get up and play, and then come back. It's only about a 5-hour bus ride. So, I mean, if you're going to play college basketball, you're going to be in a conference. You're going to have to travel somewhere, and you're going to have to play some teams. And we kind of are at one end of the conference. Frostburg ends up being at the other end. So teams that are in the middle don't have as long a trip, but
sure.
It's not a terrible trip, and it's always a lot shorter after you win on the way home. That's for sure.
It's true. Hey, one question that certainly comes up: Frostburg State is a team that is moving on to the CAC eventually in time, and that kind of puts the Allegheny Mountain Collegiate Conference again in the same boat it's been in many years, kind of the source of moving, adding and subtracting, and teams leaving and being brought in, et cetera. I mean, is that tough for a coach when the AMCC seems to be changing every single season?
Not really. It really hasn't changed. This is my 4th year here now, and the biggest change, we had Lake Erie leave
right
a couple of years ago, which I don't
they moved
think
up to
any
D2, correct?
Yeah, they went to Division II, and we were kind of glad to see them go because they were winning all the time.
That's true. It's true.
And then then we added this year's the first year Dewville College out of Buffalo is actually in the conference. So they were brought in with the idea that Frostburg may be looking to leave, and to kind of make sure we stay at 10 teams. So this year it's a little different. We have 11 teams, but next year we'll be back down to 10. And I know selfishly for us, Dewville is also a school in Buffalo, so it just eliminates one long trip for us.
I was about to say a quick little day trip versus a 5-hour day trip. I can see where the scale may weigh for you.
Exactly.
Hey, let's talk about the team just a little bit. Obviously,
Sure.
You're in your 4th year, so at this point in time, it's your recruits really starting to come in and be part of this team. And 16.6 points out of Keith Hack, and then Ron. I'm going to say his name wrong.
Malecki, yep.
Malecki, 13.7 points and 10.9 out of Ricky Reed. And you still got guys after that. But tell us a little bit about Hack and Malecki and Reed. What do they bring to the table for this young group that's doing, obviously, very well?
Well, Keith is one of our 5 seniors, and he was preseason player of the year in the AMCC. He had a great second half of the year last year as a junior. When we lost in the NCAA tournament to John Carroll,
right.
He had 24 points, I believe, something like that. I'm not great with numbers, but he was just unguardable in the second half. He was, for John Carroll, and he's really carried that over this year. And sometimes I wonder, as a coach, I'm always trying to stress team first, and and being unselfish. And sometimes numbers get, guys don't put up numbers that maybe they could put up in a different type of system. But Keith is very unselfish. He does a lot of the little things. He gets when he's really playing well. He's getting offensive rebounds. He's making threes. His free throw shooting has improved greatly this year, and so he's able to score points that way. He can score in a lot of different ways, and he can really he's become a complete player where his passing is much improved throughout his 4 years here. His rebounding has been a key for us. Because even though he's not a huge guy, he's he's our power forward, but he's really more of a small forward. And then Ron Malecki comes off the bench actually for us, but I think that he's one of the best inside players in our league, and can be one of the best inside players in the country. Scores, he can make jump shots, he can score on the post. He has he's really played with great confidence with his back to the basket, and he makes free throws too. And we have a post guy who makes free throws. You know, he's one of our two best free throw shooters. So I like having him have the ball at the end of the game, which most centers, you know, are unusual. He's not a typical center type. When we played at John Carroll at the end of December, we went down one, and they were pressing us with about 17 seconds to go. We inbounded to Ron, and he took the ball the length of the court and made a spin move layup and got fouled to seal the game for us. And just, you know, a lot of teams don't have guys who can do that, but he may be a little undersized for a five-man, but he has a lot of skills. And Ricky Reed is a very quick guard out of Rochester, New York, who has been really since he got here as a freshman has been a key contributor for us. And he had a great game yesterday with 18 points, or he had 18. Again, I'm not great with numbers, but his outside shooting is improving as he continues to drive to the basket and go by guys, and just is a guy who is real quick and is great with the ball in his hands. So we have those three guys. You know, it's a nice thing is that two of them are juniors, which, you know, looks good for us for next year. But the other two guys who are seniors that you didn't get to as you go down the scoring list, Mike Birkin and Chris Moscato.
I think we just lost Coach, as our good phone system will always do to us. The gremlins of our studio have been creeping up on us the last two shows. I apologize again. We'll try and raise Coach back quickly, though. As I hear in the background, sounds like our home phone system has gone dead once again. So we're going to take a break. We're going to try and get Madai's Coach back on the line as soon as we can and talk to him a little bit more, because we also have some video from last year's AMCC championship. Them cutting down the nets. We want to talk to them as well. We'll be back with Hoopsville right after this. You're listening to Hoopsville, presented by D3Hoops.com. We'll be back in just a minute.
Who are you?
What are your team colors?
Who can make you cheer?
Who can bring your family and friends together?
And play your fight song?
Who can bring you to your feet?
Or bring you to your knees?
When the game is on the line, who do you want to take the last shot?
And who do you want to slap high fives, jump up and down, and yell at the top of your lungs with?
There's probably a game near you today. NCAA basketball. Who's your team?
Did you know there's only one radio show dedicated to Division III basketball in the world?
Welcome to the big show.
It's Hoopsville. You can tune into Hoopsville throughout the season on Sunday and Thursday nights, starting at 6 p.m. Eastern, live on your computer. Just go to www.d3hoopsville.com for more information, because if you're a Division III basketball fan, you've got to listen to Hoopsville. Hoopsville is presented thanks to d3hoops.com and in part by the National Association of Basketball Coaches.
Amber alert, abducted child, African-American girl, 6 years old, suspect wearing blue shirt, black jeans.
Now when an Amber Alert is issued, you can get the same information the authorities get right on your cell phone. Sign up for free at wirelessamberalerts.org. Think of it, something as simple as a free text message could free an abducted child.
All units, Amber alert canceled. Child recovered safely. Suspect is in custody.
wirelessamberAlerts.org. A child is calling for help. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
NCAA women's college basketball. All day, every day, our game. These women can really play. Filling it up, knocking them down, and bringing it home. It's basketball at its purest. For family fun and great entertainment, there's nothing like it. All day, every day, our game. NCAA women's college basketball.
We've got more schools than Division I, more fans than Division II, and more upsets than March Madness. There's 800 programs with over 11,000 games leading to 2 national championships. And we've been covering it all for over a decade. From Eastern to Occidental, from Puget Sound to Piedmont, from Southwestern to the University of New England, and from Hope to Calvin. Nobody covers Division III basketball like we do. We're at D3Hoops.com at www.d3hoops.com.
Are you an embarrassment on the dance floor? Do you confuse state capitals and read too many celebrity gossip magazines? Well, if you answered yes, you may have what it takes to adopt a teen from foster care, because teens don't need perfection, they need you. So if you think an MP3 is a computer virus, it's okay. There are thousands of teens in foster care who would love to put up with you. For more information, call 1-888-200-4005 or go to adoptuskids.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt Us Kids, and the Ad Council.
So, EJ, we've designed you a signature shoe worthy of a three-time All-American with mad smarts and sick leadership skills. Ta-da!
There are over 380,000 NCAA student athletes.
Yeah, you got your GPA and boss, right?
I love it. And just about all of them will be going pro in something other than sports.
Can I get it in a loafer for casual Fridays? Yes. Yes.
Did you know Division III basketball has a radio show completely dedicated to them every week?
Welcome to the big show.
Well, they do. You can tune into Hoopsville every Sunday night from 7 to 9 p.m. Eastern, live on your computer.
Great show.
Just go to d3hoops.com and click on the Hoopsville link for more information. Because if you're a Division III basketball fan, you've got to listen to Hoopsville. Hoopsville is presented thanks to Goucher College Radio and d3hoops.com.
Daddy, I'm only 3 years old, but when you look at me, I could see the wheels turning. You're dreaming about what am I gonna be when I grow up? A major league first baseman? Maybe a point guard for a national championship team? Or the winner of the Heisman Trophy?
The odds of a child becoming a professional athlete? 1 in 16,000. The odds of a child being diagnosed with autism? 1 in 150. You know the odds of autism. Now learn some of the signs. No big smiles or other joyful expressions by 6 months. No back and forth sharing of sounds or facial expressions by 9 months. And no babbling by 12 months. To learn more of the signs and more about autism, visit autismspeaks.org.
So, Dad, let's keep dreaming the impossible while looking out for the possible, okay?
Brought to you by Autism Speaks and the Ad Council.
All season long, let D3Football.com be your home for all the Division III football action on the road to the Stag Bowl. From interactive blogs and message boards to columns from around the region and around the nation on your favorite teams, nobody covers NCAA Division III better than D3Football.com. As the playoffs approach, get the scoop on who's in and who's out from the experts who picked all 32 teams last year. Don't go anywhere else. Get the info from the source for Division III football at www.d3football.com.
Ever wonder where you can hear the latest Division III basketball news?
Welcome to the big show.
That's Hoopsville.
Great show.
The only show dedicated to Division III basketball in the world.
I'll tell you what, I'll support them.
You can tune in to where coaches, players, fans, and even us commentators chat about the week that was and the week that will be. So tune into Hoopsville Sunday nights from 7 until 9 Eastern live on your computer. Or check out the podcast. Because if you want to talk Division III basketball, you've got to listen to Hoopsville. Hoopsville is presented by D3Hoops.com and broadcast thanks to Goucher College Radio. For more information, go to www.d3hoops.com/Hoopsville. We've got more schools than Division I, more fans than Division II, and more upsets than March Madness. There's 800 programs with over 11,000 games leading to 2 national championships. And we've been covering it all for over a decade. From Eastern to Occidental, from Puget Sound to Piedmont, from Southwestern to the University of New England, and from Hope to Calvin. Nobody covers Division III basketball like we do. We're at D3Hoops.com at www.d3hoops.com.
And welcome back to Hoopsville, everybody. Sorry for our technical difficulties. Certainly gremlins we need to work out. We will be working on them strong and hard for the next 4 days before we hit the air on Thursday. I want to appreciate and thank Coach Mike McDonald as well from Adai, who's joining us back on the air on Hoopsville through speakerphone, we hope. It's the way we make this work. Coach, are you there?
Yes, I am, Dave.
Hold on a second. I'm hoping everybody else can hear you. I can hear you. I'm trying to make sure the audience can hear you. Apparently not. Hold on, Coach.
Okay.
All right, we'll try one more time. Coach, I know I can hear you. How about the rest of the audience? Go ahead.
Sorry, what'd you say?
There we go. Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, I got you, yeah.
Very good. We're finally making this work old school.
Okay, nice. We got 2 tin cans and a string, right?
Exactly! With a video camera, believe it or not, broadcasting it over the internet. Anyway, Coach, I wanted to talk real quick about last year in the title and moving on to the NCAA tournament for starters. Obviously, you guys winning the AMCC. How great was that for the program?
It was an unbelievable experience, and on a number of different levels, Dave. Just because we, when our coaching staff took over, the program had not had a lot of success. They'd been 4-46 over the 2 years combined previous, so it was a rebuilding job that we had to do. But our guys were able to come through and be able to host the tournament was just something that was really special for us.
Sure.
Just the way the college and the Buffalo community rallied around us, and our gym was sold out for 2 straight nights. It was just awesome, and to be able to win a title at home is something our guys will never forget.
Curiosity, what kind of thing? I mean, is that something obviously that can help push a 13-0 start to a season?
Well, I think the way we looked at it with this team is we just wanted to. So we have a lot of guys back, and we have a lot of seniors, juniors, as I mentioned, who've been around here, and it would have been very easy for us after we played McHugh in the NCAA tournament last year to look at it and say, we just want to get back there, and we're going to get back there. And I told them we can't just blink our eyes and get back there. We have to take every game one at a time. So our whole thing is we're just going. It's coach speak. It's it's a cliche.
Yeah, sure.
It's true in that we just want to be 1-0 each time we play, and we just want to win the next game and worry about later, and really take a look at what's in front of us. And our guys have really bought into that, and it was. I was worried. I was very worried, quite honestly. And you look at some of the teams I've had conversations with coaches who've had a lot of guys back at the Division III level, and you can go through and look at some teams who were maybe preseason picked a lot higher than us nationally, who have not been great, and they've faltered at times. And I think some of that is because seniors sometimes are more worried about what they're going to do after graduation, and really not worried.